Breaking Liverpool news. Is Mohamed Salah sending a big message about his future? Pressure is mounting on Arne Slot and things are heating up at Liverpool FC ahead of a huge clash with Paris Saint-Germain. Stay tuned as we break down all the latest drama, transfer hints and major decisions coming out of Anfield. Don't forget to subscribe for daily Liverpool updates. Liverpool news. Another Jurgen Klopp star could leave as Arne Slot ally comes out fighting. Liverpool are already bracing themselves for a summer of change, regardless of what happens between now and the end of the season. There has been plenty of transfer upheaval at Liverpool, and the summer window has yet to open. Mohamed Salah will leave at the end of the season, as will his longtime teammate Andy Robertson, while there could be more to come with Alisson being targeted. He has won everything here, really loves this club. It has been a great 9 years at the club. But we saw this season he didn't play as much as he used to, and as a result of that, he is leaving, manager Arne Slot said of left-back Robertson, who has been linked with Tottenham. Slot and his players have a huge match on the horizon. On Tuesday, they will welcome Paris Saint-Germain at Anfield, knowing they need to overturn a 2-goal deficit to keep alive their last remaining hope of silverware this season. The Reds' boss has found himself under pressure less than a year after winning the Premier League, but not everyone has turned on him. Here's the latest on both Slot and Alisson. Juve after Alisson. Salah and Robertson might not be the only members of Jurgen Klopp's 2019-20 title-winning side to leave Liverpool this summer. According to reports in Italy, Juventus are keen on bringing goalkeeper Alisson back to Serie A. Luciano Spalletti, Juve's manager, was also in charge at Roma when Alisson played for the Giallorossi in the 2016-17 season. The 67-year-old took over in Turin in October with his team 7th in the league, but now has a chance to lead them back into the Champions League. Michele Di Grodio and Mattia Perin have shared goalkeeping duties for Spalletti's team this season. A new stopper is believed to be high on the manager's list of priorities, while Tottenham striker Randal Kolo Muani is another target after an impressive loan stint last season. Slot ally on the defensive, Marino Pusic, who served as Arne Slot's number 2 at both AZ and Feyenoord, has come to the defence of the under-fire Liverpool manager. The 54-year-old passed up on the chance to join Slot at Anfield and is currently manager of Al Jazeera in the UAE. I think Arne deserves much more credit at Liverpool right now than he is getting, Pusic told Voteball International. Many people forget how frequently Liverpool has become champion of England in recent decades. Arne did it right away in his first season, but Jurgen Klopp has also only won the Premier League title once. Before that, Liverpool last won the league title in 1990, and now it is expected that Arne will win the title twice in a row, especially because so much money has been spent. That doesn't always work. John Aldridge disagrees with Arne Slot after Rio Ngumoha decision. Made Rio Ngumoha stole the show as he inspired Liverpool to victory against Fulham, although Reds hero John Aldridge wasn't happy with one of Arne Slot's decisions on the teenager. John Aldridge has taken issue with Arne Slot's decision to substitute Rio Ngumoha during Liverpool's win over Fulham, insisting the youngster should have played the entire game. Ngumoha is earning yet more rave reviews after inspiring the Reds to a much-needed 2-0 win at Anfield on Saturday. The 17-year-old scored his second Premier League goal and played a big hand in Mohamed Salah getting on the scoresheet in a player of the match performance. Slot is now facing increased calls for the teenager to start Tuesday's second leg against Paris Saint-Germain, with Liverpool needing to overturn a 2-0 deficit in the Champions League quarter-finals. The Reds boss may well have had that in mind when he decided to bring Ngumoha off just short of the 70-minute mark, with the youngster earning a standing ovation from the Anfield crowd for his performance. Former Liverpool striker Aldridge, though, wasn't too happy with the decision and felt Ngumoha should have seen the game out. "Well, we will take the 3 points and clean sheet and walk away," Aldridge posted on X after the game. Not convincing at times in the second half. Rio should have played the 94 mins. He's young enough and certainly good enough. Despite Aldridge not being happy with the decision, Slot has hinted that Ngumoha could be in line to start again against PSG on Tuesday, which may well have influenced his call to substitute him. "I think he's ready," Slot said when asked whether Ngumoha is ready to start a game as big as Tuesday's meeting with the European champions. Now the question of course is, can he do this 2 days later? Again, that's another question, but would he be able to play and perform at that level? Yeah, I play him because I see him as one of the players we are having. It's not like he's less, or in the beginning of the season he was a young player getting some experience with the first team, but now he's just someone I can pick for any game. So also the one on Tuesday, Liverpool.com says, in fairness to Slot, the decision to substitute Ngumoha made a lot of sense, especially if he's planning on starting him again on Tuesday. Even if he's not, you do have to remember that Ngumoha is still only 17, and with just one Premier League start under his belt before Saturday, you don't want to push such a promising player further than you need to. And even though Liverpool wasn't as fluent as it had been earlier in the game, being 2-0 up at home should be the ideal time to rest him. Mohamed Salah's body language says everything as ex-Liverpool star spots something. Mohamed Salah was back on the score sheet, and the Egyptian's reaction said it at all as he put a difficult week behind him with a much improved performance in Liverpool's win over Fulham. Mohamed Salah was in a much better mood as he put a difficult week behind him against Fulham on Saturday. The Egyptian scored Liverpool's second during the 2-0 win, his first league goal at Anfield since November, as he helped the Reds get back on track after back-to-back defeats against Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain. Salah will have been glad to have put both of those games behind him. He endured a nightmare afternoon at the Etihad Stadium as he spurned a number of great opportunities before missing a penalty in the 4-0 FA Cup defeat, before being left on the bench for the 2-0 defeat in Paris. Saturday, though, saw a marked difference, with Salah one of the standout performers alongside Rio Ngumoha as Liverpool's wingers made the difference against Fulham. And it was noticeable how the 33-year-old's mood looked to have improved drastically, with just 7 games potentially remaining in his Anfield career now. Commentating on the game for BBC Radio 5 Live, former Liverpool defender Stephen Warnock said on Salah's goal, "It's another brilliant goal. Salah hits it first time and bends it around Robinson. Another one that is inch perfect. Salah's grin is from ear to ear. That goal means so much to him." Meanwhile, former Aston Villa midfielder Lee Hendry said while commentating on Sky Sports, "An outstanding goal from Salah, a first-time finish, and the execution was 100% perfect. The performance will put Salah in a good position to start again when PSG head to Anfield on Tuesday for the second leg of the Champions League quarter-final." Liverpool.com says that was much more like it from Salah. He looked much more like the player we've come to know and love over the last 9 years against Fulham, and hopefully that will hold him in good stead for the remainder of the season. He must start against PSG now, as well as Ngumoha. Say what you want about Salah's performance against City last weekend, but he still got himself into positions where he could have scored, which is more than anyone else did against the European champions in midweek. Having him in the team feels like Liverpool's best bet if it is going to stage a remarkable comeback. Given he knows now that the curtain is coming down on his time at Anfield, you wouldn't bet against him sparking something on Tuesday. Arne Slot told Rio Ngumoha has earned right to play as huge PSG decision looms. Rio Ngumoha has further enhanced his chances of playing for Liverpool against PSG after his performance against Fulham, with one pundit feeling he has earned the right to start. Arne Slot has been told Rio Ngumoha has earned his right to be in Liverpool's team as the Reds' boss now faces a big decision against Paris Saint-Germain. Ngumoha stole the show as he was handed just his second Premier League start against Fulham on Saturday, with the 17-year-old scoring in the 2-0 victory, which leaves Liverpool in pole position to qualify for next season's Champions League ahead of the youngster's former club Chelsea. There has been a huge clamour for Ngumoha to be handed more playing time this season, with Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard among those to have previously urged Slot to start him ahead of some of his senior teammates. Those calls look set to grow as Liverpool faces Paris Saint-Germain in the second leg of its Champions League quarter-final on Tuesday, with the Reds needing to overturn a 2-0 deficit if they're to keep their hopes of silverware alive. Former England midfielder and Sky Sports pundit Izzy Christiansen was full of praise for Ngumoha after his performance on Saturday, and she suggested there should be no hesitation from Slot to include the youngster in his team now. "I don't think that Arne Slot put Rio into this team as a token," Christensen said. "He's clearly in this team because he has earned the right to be there." Jamie Redknapp concurs, and the ex-Liverpool star has some special insight into Ngumoha's journey to the Reds' senior squad. "The potential was so obvious, everybody could see it.
He just had sort of a natural X factor, Redknapp said. He was at Chelsea at the same time as my youngest son, and they used to train together in the same group. It was quite staggering to see. His brother, who played a big part in his career, certainly his development, he used to do a lot of one-on-one coaching with him, and he came over to my house a few times, and I just watched how he worked with Rio. I've never seen a kid with such fast feet, but it was repetition after repetition. We speak so much now about a lot of these players don't just perhaps get enough training at their own clubs. They do it with one-on-one coaches, and there's probably nobody better, or nobody knows him better than his older brother. So they work extremely well together. For anyone who doesn't know his sort of journey, he was one of the very highly regarded players at Chelsea. They loved him, wanted to keep him. Redknapp added, Liverpool came in. He left at 16 years of age to go up there, and it must have been really hard for him. It probably took a little while to settle. His first year in the academy didn't go perhaps to help like to plan. This year, he sort of forced his way in with the first team squad. And now you can see it, the goal against Newcastle, the goal against Fulham. He's thriving, he's enjoying it, and it is a great environment. It's a tough environment. I did it myself as a 17-year-old when I signed for Liverpool, and I'm thankful for every day that I did it. He's doing extremely well. Got to keep his head on his shoulders and keep working hard. He's got great experienced players like Andy Robertson around him. So I'm delighted. He's a really good young man, and it's amazing to see him. I've known him since he was 7. I'm delighted. What happened at Acre Anfield proved Liverpool are hurtling toward inescapable change. Verdict from Paul Gorst as the Liverpool beat Fulham 2-9-0 at Anfield thanks to goals from Rio Ngumoha and Mohamed Salah. Legendary figures were serenaded. Mohamed Salah scored, and Anfield felt as though it had been transported back to a happier, more harmonious period at times here. But make no mistake, this 2-0 win over Fulham provided enough evidence to suggest that Liverpool are entering a brand new era later this year. If Salah registering his 256th goal in trademark style was a perfect way to mark his first Anfield appearance since announcing he will leave at the end of the season, there was also the hearty celebration of Andy Robertson, who too confirmed this week that these are his own final knockings. And with Alisson Becker and his creaking muscles resting up on the sideline, Georgi Mamardashvili's appearance in goal was another nod to the future. The need for a new guard to emerge is inescapable as two of the greatest ever in Salah and Robertson prepare to say their emotional goodbyes. Step forward then Rio Ngumoha, whose stunning opening goal here whet the appetite of a fan base who will soon be forced to find some new heroes. He may very well be one on this showing. Ngumoha, who was starting just his second Premier League game, was electric in the first half, dovetailing with Florian Wirtz and Robertson, who is 15 years his senior. After Anthony Taylor waved away his penalty shout, the 17-year-old dusted himself down to whip one past Bernd Leno later in the half. It was a sumptuous piece of play from a teenager with a brilliant future. Salah, who was back in the side after being left unused at Paris Saint-Germain on Wednesday, rapped home a second goal before the break. It felt fitting. Barring a famous comeback against European champions PSG on Tuesday night in the second leg of that quarter-final tie, Salah has just 4 more games at the venue. He has lit up these past 9 years, so moments like his latest goal here will rightly be cherished. The standing ovation that greeted his departure was deserved too. There are 16 years and 75 days between 33-year-old Salah and his younger teammate Ngumoha, who doesn't turn 18 until late August, which is the widest age gap between 2 Liverpool scorers in the club's entire history. The calls to start Ngumoha more regularly have been aired frequently in recent weeks, and they well now become deafening to Arne Slot, who has tried to carefully manage the minutes of the precocious teenager during a troubling period for the team. Slot has been determined not to place too many demands on the shoulders of a player who isn't even around the England under-21 fringes yet. But performances like this will make selecting him almost irresistible. He tormented the Cottagers here, but can he now be a genuine option against PSG on Tuesday night? The first sighting of Alexander Isak on the Anfield pitch in 4 months was also a welcome one for a club who are looking to move past the age of Salah. The £125 million striker is clearly still rusty after just a handful of team training sessions since breaking his leg at Tottenham Hotspur before Christmas, but this was another important checkpoint for him. But for all the garlands that landed at the feet of Salah and Robertson from the Liverpool fans here, it would be wrong to paint this some sort of legends loving. There was also an edge the match-going crowd who raged against the club's decision to raise ticket prices for the next 3 years last month. The Reds' decision makers were angrily accused of being greedy and were told to shove your prices up your buy a cop who had just one banner draped across it all afternoon. No to ticket price, 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 it all afternoon. No to increases. It will be fascinating to see if the message resonated across the Atlantic in the boardrooms of owners, Fenway Sports Group. The protests organised by supporters union Spirit of Shankly have only added to the current sense of disconnect following a poor season, and the wider mood is so far removed from this time last year as Liverpool closed in on the title. It perhaps speaks to the paucity of their rivals, at least, that a first win since February actually allowed Slot's men to go 4 points clear in the fifth and final Champions League spot. And this might even prove to be a huge day in the entire campaign, now given sixth place Chelsea host the title-hunting Manchester City on Sunday. Easing clear of Chelsea and securing participation in next season's European Cup is now the number one. It won't make this term a success by any metric, but it will at least provide the club with the funds needed to rebuild the squad in time for that aforementioned new era. Because whether they like it or not, this afternoon confirmed it is hurtling towards them. Dominic Szoboszlai offers Liverpool future hint as Arne Slot gets what he called for Ian Doyle with the hawking points from Liverpool's Premier League 2-0 win at home to Fulham on Saturday. In a season of so many disappointments, few have taken the brunt of individual criticism, online at the very least, as much as Cody Gakpo. Few would contend the Dutchman has been anywhere near as proficient as during the last few seasons when he was a regular under both Jurgen Klopp and compatriot Arne Slot. But he has made a habit of scoring against Fulham, notching 3 in his last 5 outings against the Londoners, including what should have been the winner at Craven Cottage back in January. He fell short here in that regard, although spearheading an attack, as is so often case under Slot, that was reliant on goal threat from out wide. This wasn't an easy gig for Gakpo, and if his perseverance is undoubted, the quality of the Holland international was demonstrated by the manner in which he took a difficult pass from Rio Ngumoha and laid on Liverpool's second for Mohamed Salah. There was one shot wide before Gakpo ended the game on the left flank as Alexander Isak, after 15 minutes in Paris on his comeback in midweek, got another 25 under his belt. Like in Ngumoha, the Sweden striker could well have an important part to play during what remains of the season. Szoboszlai offers midfield hint. If Wednesday's team selection was seen by some as Slot raising the white flag against Paris Saint-Germain, there could be no such accusations here. Almost all of the 5 changes made by the Liverpool boss were aimed at making his team more potent and consistently threatening going forward. The main intrigue, though, came in the double pivot roles in the engine room, where the Reds started without either Ryan Gravenberch or Alexis McAllister in a Premier League game for only the 3rd time under Slot. The Reds lost both previous games at Chelsea and Brentford. And with Dominic Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones hardly the most defensive-minded of midfielders, discipline would be required. That Jones departed at half-time for Gravenberch through injury will be a concern given the need for every player during the closing weeks of a tiring campaign. But Szoboszlai, having courted controversy with fans of late, will surely take confidence from a display much improved on recent outings. It could point to a future role for the Hungarian, and the greater attacking thrust all round meant Liverpool avoided registering a blank for a 3rd successive game for the first time since February 2016. Defence steps up. When it comes to defending, Fortress has been proving anything but for Liverpool over the past 12 months. Since the 1-0 win over Everton last April, the Reds went into this game having kept only 4 clean sheets in 19 home Premier League games. This then was a much needed shutout after the leakiness of recent times. The first time they had stopped the opposition from scoring in the top flight at Anfield since the grim goalless draw against Leeds United on New Year's Day. Fulham pressed hard for periods during the second half, but rarely was Georgi Mamardashvili called into action as bodies were put on the line and crosses blocked. It was the kind of ruthless defending for which Slot had called after the FA Cup drubbing at Manchester City last weekend that wasn't overly apparent at the Parc des Princes a few days later. This victory and performance was the reaction Liverpool needed after those dismal outings. Tuesday night, though, will be an altogether different proposition. Anfield awaits.